Good morning. Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. My name is Jay Tiefenbrunn. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm very pleased to be your director of music ministries. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our online worship this morning. Our collaborative pianist is Holling Smith-Bourne. If you're watching live, buttons will appear that will bring you to our website. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you can visit firstuunash.org and click on the With You Worship Portal button for all the information you need to participate in today's worship, including the order of service, joys and concerns, and our offering. I'd like to invite you now to be more fully present and join our children's music coordinator, Karina Daza, in singing our opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit by UU songwriter Jim Scott.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame, witness the mystery of this hour, our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
Good morning. I'd like to invite you to connect into your heart space and reach out with your awareness to connect with our neighbors worshiping online with us this morning. We welcome you to say hello in the chat, to greet each other. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Gail Spar, and I'm a member of...
Oop. You're okay.
Good morning. I'm Gail Spar, and I'm a member of the worship committee. The words for our chalice lighting this morning were written by Lisa Doge. chalice, the question comes. It's the cup of life, we answer, a cup of blessings overflowing, a cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst, a cup of wine for celebration and dedication, the flame of truth, the fire of purification, oil for anointing, healing. Out of chaos, fear, and horror, thus was the symbol crafted a generation ago. So may it be for us in these days of uncertainty, sorrow, and rage, and a light to warm our souls and guide us home.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Diane Dowgiert, Developmental Lead Minister here at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. The words for our call to worship this morning were written by Rebecca Parker. Even when our hearts are broken by our own failure or by the failure of others, cutting into our lives, even when we have done all we can and life is still broken, there is a universal love that has never broken faith with us and never will. Come, let us worship. I have my wonder box with me this morning. As Unitarian Universalists, we think it's important to approach the world with a sense of wonder and curiosity. All this month, we're talking about the theme of forgiveness. And so I wonder what's in this box that might teach us something about forgiveness. So let's open it and see. Well, let's see. The first thing that's in there is a plastic bag. I bet you're wondering what that can teach us about forgiveness. And then there's a whole bunch of tomatoes. I wonder what on earth these tomatoes, and they just keep coming, I wonder what these tomatoes could teach us about forgiveness. So the story today is about a 4th grade teacher who once decided to play a game with the class. The teacher told each child in the class to bring along a plastic bag containing a few tomatoes. Each tomato would be given a name of a person that child hates. So the number of tomatoes that a child will put into their plastic bag will depend on the number of people they hate. So when the day came, every child brought some tomatoes and the names of the people that they hated. Some had 2 tomatoes, while some maybe had 3, and some had maybe 5 or even more. So the teacher told the children to carry with them the bag of tomatoes wherever they went, even to the toilet, for 1 week. Days after days passed by, and the children started to complain due to the unpleasant smell let out by the rotten tomatoes. You know that smell when you've left your tomatoes in the back of the refrigerator too long? And besides, those having 5 or more tomatoes also had to carry heavier bags. After 1 week, the children were relieved because the game had finally ended. The teacher asked, "How did you feel while carrying those tomatoes with you for a week?" The children let out their frustrations and started complaining of the trouble that they had to go through, having to carry the heavy and smelly tomatoes wherever they went. Then the teacher told them the hidden meaning behind the game. The teacher said, "This is exactly the situation when you carry hatred for somebody inside your heart. The stench of hatred will contaminate your heart, and you will carry it with you wherever you go. If you cannot tolerate the smell of rotten tomatoes for just 1 week, can you imagine what it is like to have the stench of hatred in your heart for a lifetime?" The moral of the story is this: throw away any hatred you have from your heart so that you will not carry sins for a lifetime. Forgiving others is the best attitude to take. And so with that, I'm putting my tomatoes down and back in the Wonder Box. Here ends our story for today.
Good morning. My name is Denise Gouch, and I have the pleasure of being your Assistant Minister for Congregational Engagement. It's my pleasure to welcome you to worship. As Unitarian Universalists, our spiritual paths vary, but in this congregation, we have made a covenant together. We affirm our interdependence, celebrate our differences, and work for justice. We are a welcoming congregation, and we deepen our relationships as we serve our congregation's mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values in the broader world, guided by reason and compassion. I'd like to extend a special welcome to visitors worshiping with us. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you may find it here. All are welcome to attend our services, and people become members of our congregation by signing the membership book and supporting the church with their time and finances. If you are considering joining the church or just would like to know more about us, please contact me. You can find my email address in the staff directory under Contact Us on the website, and I would love to hear from you. Following the service, we hope everyone will enjoy at least one of the online opportunities for fellowship listed in our online worship portal, and our website holds many other announcements of interest, which I hope you will read. I have been asked to emphasize a few of those. First, a call for auction donations. The first UU Nashville 2020 fall auction is ready for your donations. We're accepting donations of online and pandemic-safe social events, services, gift cards or certificates, food and treats, and other special items. The deadline to donate is Saturday, October 3rd. Find out more on our website, firstuunash.org. We still need a few more Habitat volunteers to meet our commitment for our fall unity build. That's Habitat for Humanity. We need 2 volunteers for Sunday, October 11th, and 4 for Saturday, October 17th. Please contact Habitat at thefun.org if you can help. We would love to have everyone signed up by the end of September. There are 2 opportunities today to do some online socializing. You can join us at Zoom at noon for our Zoom social hour featuring our NOAA Action Team. That's Nashville Organized for Action and Hope. And you can find the link for that noon social hour in the worship portal on our website. If you want something a little earlier, at 10:30 today, you can join Christopher Cotton, Colin Garrett, and Jason Plummer, all of whom are Safe Congregation vetted, for family game time. See our With You worship portal for the link, and you can find that at firstuunash.org. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. For the month of September, our Share the Plate partner is our congregation's Room in the Inn Social Justice Action Team. You can learn more about their work in our online worship portal. For now, we don't have the pleasure of passing physical offering bowls, but our finance folks have made sure that anyone, anytime, can access our online donation form on the website. If you would like to mail a check to the church, please write in the memo line how you would like your donation to be used. If you want your gift to be credited to your pledge, please write pledge. If you write Sunday offering, it will be donated to our Share the Plate partner. Today, we have a special treat. We have a stewardship reflection from prospective member Julie Grower.
Good morning, I'm Julie Grower. My pronouns are she, her. I've been coming to First UU Nashville for about 10 months, and it's sort of been a homecoming for me because my first experience with Unitarianism was back in Long Island, New York, when I started coming during my preteen and teen years and being involved in youth group there. I was also involved in Row Camp and LRY, but really got away from Unitarianism for a long time till I came back here, and I'm so glad I have. And I'm so proud to be a steward here because the resources are so rich and the ability to participate is so great. I've been able to be involved with the choir this summer, and even though we haven't been able to be in person singing together, I've been able to submit tracks to Jay and listen to how wonderful they sound once they've been assembled. Kudos to her, to the fact that she's put in such an amazing amount of time and energy in making that happen and keeping that going. I've also started reading a wonderful new book as a result of my involvement with the book club, and am starting to train in nonviolent communication. So the resources here at the church have just been fantastic. And I just also, of course, the values and the lessons that I listen to every Sunday are extremely enriching. They resonate with my values, and they also give me a sense of deep spirituality. One of the most wonderful things I like about the lessons is how stories are woven in to the topics each week and the fact that the stories come from all over the world. I just think that's wonderful. So I'm really glad to be with you all. I hope that I can be with you all in person soon again. It's been great meeting people this summer, and I look forward to a lot more wonderful experiences here at First UU Nashville.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's nice to see you. In this season of virtual offering bowls, we are especially grateful for the steady generosity which allows us, both within and beyond the congregation, to continue creating community, nurturing spiritual growth, and acting on our values. We are also deeply, deeply grateful for your presence with us. I invite you now to join in our weekly ritual of gathered community. Following the upcoming musical interlude, we will share the joys and concerns submitted through the online form, provided permission is given on that form. All joys and concerns will be shared as usual with our lay ministry team. So I invite you now to finish arriving here with this gathered community in whatever space you inhabit. Know that it is a holy space because you are there, and because in that space you are connected with all of us gathered through this worship service across space, across time. Take a deep breath. Settle yourself when and where you are. Know that you are connected to this community, and consider what you have brought to this moment. And if there is a particular joy or sorrow that is profound that you would like to share with this gathered community, you're invited to use our Joys and Concerns online form to submit that. Or you may just like to sit, feel connected, and let us now listen to this music. We have joyful comments shared this morning. Sherry DiGiovanna, our Director of Communications, says this: sharing a joy for the blessing of volunteers at First UU, with special thanks to Kendra for moderating this morning so I could take a break and just enjoy the service with you for the first time this year. And Jeannie Heyman for consistently rocking our social media. Ann Morse sends a joy and a gratitude. Ann says, thank you to her fun friends for your warm birthday greetings this week. Happy birthday, Ann. And in the chat, Dana Bennett has written, I am grateful that no one was injured when I was involved in a car accident on Wednesday. We join you in that gratitude, Dana. So holding these joys, these gratitudes, as well as the grief and sorrow, the concerns, the worries that I know also lie in our hearts and minds. Let us join together in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and love, we gather this morning or this evening, through the week, intentionally as a community, knowing that we need our connections to one another. The world we live in is uncertain, as it always has been. We feel grief at the small and large losses in our lives. We share the larger griefs of our culture when important people leave us, when wisdom leaves this planet, or doesn't leave, but now it is ours to carry and ours to embody. Give us the strength to learn the lessons that our lives bring, to share with each other the strength and the comfort we need to put those lessons into action, to build a world in which we all can thrive. Blessed be, and amen.
Our reading this morning is titled At One, and it was written by Victoria Safford. Imagine this. On the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, every year, every fall, the people make their peace with anyone they have wronged or slighted or injured or in any way neglected in the past 12 months. The task is not to patch things up, smooth things over, reach a compromise, or sweep mistakes and uneasy memories under the rug. The task is not to feel better. The task is ownership. The goal is truth for its own redemptive sake. I did this. I said this to you, and it was wrong. I neglected this. I botched this. I betrayed you thusly. I demeaned you whether you knew it or not. This is the truth in which both of us are living. I ask you to forgive me. Imagine how many deep breaths you would need to take. Imagine how many doors you'd have to knock on, how many phone calls you'd have to make, how many letters, how many lunches and coffees, how many awkward moments with your children and your parents and with strangers, that cashier to whom you spoke so sharply. Awkward is irrelevant. The task is not about comfort. It is about truth, about wholeness and holiness, restoration. Imagine this. Someone has been preparing all year to speak with you, to write to you, to ask you a hard question. Perhaps in some not quite conscious way, you have known this, and you have been preparing too. Finally, you answer the door or the phone, or open the letter with shaky hands, and there it is, what you thought you'd been longing for, but really have dreaded. Someone is asking your forgiveness. The task is not about comfort. It is about truth. Awkward is irrelevant. You get to choose now. You have to choose whether and how you will participate in restoration. Abandon the pleasant piety that claims knee-jerk forgiveness as the unquestioned moral choice. You get to choose which way will be right in this case between you as persons and with all your gods. What response would make the world more whole? Imagine something yearns in us to come round right. Something creaky, rusty, heavy, almost calcified within us tries, in spite of us and of all our fears and self-deceptions, to turn and creak and turn again and come round a little truer. Something in us stretches toward conversion. Imagine healing wholly from within. And so ends our reading. As we let these words settle into our minds, let us take a moment to settle our hearts, our spirits, and our bodies. In this quiet time, may we find rest and refuge from the storms of life, a moment when we can be at one with ourselves. Into this quiet, holy space, I lift the name of one gone from us, one whose life was dedicated to making the world more just and therefore more whole, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. According to Jewish tradition, only the most righteous of people die on the eve of Rosh Hashanah, as Ginsburg did. In the quiet, there is space for all that is wordless, space to hold all that we feel at this time of loss. Let us take a moment of silence to honor the memory of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. May she be a blessing. May her memory be a blessing. May her work now be ours to do. May it be so. Amen.
I'd like to invite you to participate in We Begin Again in Love, which is the responsive hymn. This was recorded at 3 separate times, thanks to the wonders of technology. Please join me.
For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible.
We
for each time we have struck out in anger without just cause.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For the selfishness that sets us apart and alone.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For losing sight of our unity.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For these and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of our separateness.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
I have long been an admirer of the Jewish traditions of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the high holy days marking the beginning of a new year. What I most admire is the centrality of forgiveness in the celebration of these holidays. More than an extolling of the virtues of forgiveness, there is an expectation of adherents of the faith that they will do the hard work that forgiveness demands. While we might want it to be as easy as putting down a bag of rotten tomatoes, it seldom is. Just as mending fences and building bridges takes hard physical labor, forgiveness requires arduous spiritual work and tough spiritual muscles. It takes courage and humility. It takes the willingness to be uncomfortable while mending the fences and building the bridges that keep our relationships healthy and strong. The end result will be a lighter heart and spirit. It will feel like putting down a heavy burden, but it takes work to get there. In his famous poem, Mending Wall, Robert Frost declares, "Something there is that doesn't love a wall." He goes on to describe everything that works to tear down walls, from weather conditions to wandering hunters and critters of all sorts. There is something in us that know walls keep us separate and divided. Frost ends the poem by saying, "Good fences make good neighbors." Fences are the boundaries that mark where one person's space leaves off and another person's space begins. If you've heard it once, you've heard it 1,000 times. Healthy boundaries make healthy relationships. The need for forgiveness arises when boundaries are transgressed and harm is caused. Harm that can be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, or a combination of any or all of these. The thing about boundaries is that unlike fences, they are mostly invisible. You can't always see another person's boundaries because we all occupy space far beyond the confines of our skin. Knowing where a person's boundaries are takes an inner sense, an intuitive, compassionate, empathetic sense. It takes a listening ear and an open heart. Even with the best of intentions, we sometimes get it wrong. We miss the mark and the impact of our action or lack of action causes harm. There's a tricky part to forgiveness, which is what makes it so hard. When we are the one who has been harmed, we are also the one responsible for our own healing. Let's say someone pushes me, causing me to fall and skin my knees. It is only I that can do what must be done to heal. I who must keep the wounds clean, change the bandages, allow scabs to form, and finally, to heal. When the harm is more serious than skinned knees, it can feel utterly unfair to be the one to go through the pain and suffering through no fault of our own. Yet, we must. Whether the wound is to body or mind or spirit, healing is what we must do to restore our own lives to a sense of wholeness. The work of healing involves the rebuilding of boundaries, work that makes it more possible to forgive. In my life prior to entering the ministry, one of the jobs I held was counseling women who were fleeing abusive relationships. A common story I heard was of a woman turning to her church for help, only to be told that she needed to forgive her partner. This story that I heard so many times always made me glad to be a Unitarian Universalist with our strong emphasis on right relationship and a nuanced understanding of forgiveness. Each time I heard this story, my response was always the same. I don't think it's possible to forgive while you are being harmed, I would say. I don't believe forgiveness is possible until your wounds have begun to heal. Ultimately, the work of healing is what will allow you to put down burdens of anger, resentment, and bitterness. Forgiveness is what prevents those feelings from hardening into hatred. Forgiving another person is something we do for ourselves. It begins with mending fences. In other words, building up and repairing strong, healthy boundaries. The work of forgiveness, the healing work of forgiveness, is made easier when apologies are offered and restitution is made, which is an all too rare occurrence in our American culture here in the United States. It was Alexander Pope who said, "To err is human, to forgive divine." And Hubert Humphrey who said, "To err is human, to blame someone else is politics." To ask for forgiveness is to build a bridge, one that leads to restoration and wholeness. As Victoria Safford's essay titled "At One" points out, the task is not about comfort. It is about truth, about wholeness and holiness. To ask for forgiveness is to build a bridge made of honesty and humility, accountability and responsibility. A bridge reaching across the gulf of hurt, creating a space where forgiveness can happen. I have come to believe that it does take the hand of the divine for that healing grace to appear. In forgiveness, we get a glimpse of the divine in ourselves, a glimpse of the divine in the other, what Jewish theologian Martin Buber referred to as the I-thou relationship, greater than me and you, a transcendent relationship that is greater than either or both. We live at a time when there is so much to forgive, so much harm that is still being done. What then are we to do? How do we keep our hearts from hardening into hate? I say, we build spiritual muscle by forgiving what can be humanly forgiven, and then leaving the rest to that which is greater than we are, the universal love that will not let us go, even when we have done all that we can and life is still broken. We build not walls, but fences that are strong enough to keep hate out and hold love in. And we build bridges. Where there is falsehood, we build a bridge of truth. Where there is failure, we build a bridge of forgiveness. Where there is strife, we build a bridge of peace. Where there is oppression, we build a bridge of justice. Where there is despair, we build a bridge of hope. And where there is fear, we build a bridge of love. The Jewish New Year has begun. May we begin again in love. May it be so, and may we make it so through our living.
Our music ministries would not be possible without the volunteers who have helped me create the music and the videos that you are hopefully finding worshipful. Our closing song, Draw the Circle Wide, is by Mark A. Miller and Gordon Light. And on the recording, you'll hear myself and Holling, as well as Melanie Bresnan, Brian Carlson, and Tony Jackson. Please join in singing Draw the Circle Wide.
Draw
The words to our chalice extinguishing were written by Elizabeth Sell Jones, and they're at the bottom of your order of service. Please join me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I leave you today with words for a benediction that were written by Jim McGaw. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in mindless oblivion. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go without challenging yourself or others. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in utter ease and comfort. When I say go in peace, I mean go in peace, seeking justice. I mean go in peace, committed to equal rights and opportunities for all. When I say go in peace, I mean go in the peace that is created when together we build communities of true solidarity, deep compassion, and fierce, unrelenting love. Go in peace. This service has ended. May our service continue renewed.